If you don't feel like working, take leave. India's office culture's most uncomfortable question, unhappy leave. It is 8:45 in the morning. An employee is sitting with their laptop open, the coffee has gone cold, and unread emails are flashing on the screen as if every message were a small alarm. They are not sick. They do not have a fever. There is no medical report. But inside, they feel empty, exhausted, and defeated, even before starting work. Now imagine, in this exact condition, if they receive a simple message from the company, if you are not happy, don't come to work today. At first glance, this sounds like a dream policy, but the real question starts right here. Because a Chinese retail company actually gave such leave to its employees, and when 𝐼𝐸𝐿 shared this in India, people started asking an uncomfortable question. Is an employee's happiness the company's responsibility, or just the employee's personal problem? In August 2026, RPG Group Chairman 𝐼𝐸𝐿 sparked a discussion on Pangdong Lai's unhappy leave policy, under which employees get 10 paid unhappy leaves a year, as reported by Money Control. But the twist of this story is not that leaves are given. The twist is that the employee does not even have to give a reason. No doctor's certificate, no family emergency, no emotional explanation to the boss. Just one thing is enough: I am not feeling well today. And an even bigger shock than this is that a manager cannot reject this leave. Here in our offices, applying for leave sometimes turns into a mini courtroom. First give a reason, then provide proof, then feel guilty, and even then get a reply, "Please manage a bit." This is precisely where Pangdong Lai's policy stops being just an HR rule. It becomes a mirror in which India's workplace culture begins to see its own face. Pangdong Lai is not a Silicon Valley startup. It is a supermarket and department store chain in China's Henan province, founded by Yu Donglai in 1995. On one hand, the world looks at the retail business through margins, footfall, and sales per square foot. Yu Donglai started looking at that same business through the mental state of his employees. According to the South China Morning Post, Yu Donglai stated at China Supermarket Week in 2024 that employees could take 10 additional leaves at their own discretion. Now pay attention: additional leave. Meaning, this is not a replacement for normal sick leave or annual leave. This is a separate emotional space. The company's message was simple: a human being is not a machine. And if even a machine overheats, it has to be turned off. But is this just kindness, or is there a business logic hidden behind it as well? Pangdong Lai's reputation was not built solely on its employee policy. Its stores are also famous for customer service, where small services make customers feel pampered. The story becomes interesting here. The company that gives freedom to its employees is the same one that is able to give extra care to its customers. Which means the culture inside begins to show in the service outside. If an employee is exhausted from within, they can fake a smile, but they cannot fake warmth. In retail, a customer does not just buy a product, they also feel the behavior. The cashier's voice, the staff's patience, the manager's tone, everything becomes part of the brand. This is where Pangdong Lai caught a hidden truth. Employee well-being is not charity, it is the raw material of customer experience. But in India, as soon as 𝐼𝐸𝐿 raised this topic, the debate split into two parts. Some people said that this is very necessary in India, because burnout is real, stress is real, and emotional honesty in the office still feels risky today. Other people said that such a policy would be misused in India. People will take leave without a reason, productivity will drop, and managers' hands will be tied. But this question is also somewhat incomplete. If an employee misuses one day of unhappy leave, is that a big issue, or is the culture where people come in unhappy every single day a bigger issue? The real problem is not the leave. The real problem is that we mistake sadness in the workplace for laziness. If someone is quiet, it is said to be an attitude. If someone is overwhelmed, it is said they are weak. If someone wants a break, it is said they lack commitment. And this very silent pressure slowly turns into burnout. According to the WHO and ILO, nearly 12 billion working days are lost every year globally due to depression and anxiety, resulting in a productivity loss of around $1 trillion to the global economy. This statistic is not just a number. It is the story of those millions of people who are present in the office but have become mentally absent. In India, this problem becomes even more layered. Here, a job is not just a salary, it is a symbol of family expectations, EMIs, social status, and security. A lot of employees cannot resign. A lot of people cannot complain. And a lot of people get scared even before taking a break. Because an invisible rule runs in our workplaces. The one who endures the most is considered the most committed. Sitting late is dedication. Taking time off is weakness. Silence is professionalism. And exhaustion is normal. But will this model be able to handle the future workforce? Gen Z and millennials no longer measure a workplace solely by the salary slip. They ask, is there respect here? Is there growth, flexibility, and mental peace? This is why a policy like unhappy leave suddenly feels viral. Because it gives a name to the pain that people have been feeling for a long time. Earlier, an employee had to say, I have a fever. Now the question is, can they say, I am emotionally not okay? This tiny sentence puts the entire workplace culture to the test. However, there is a second trap here as well. If the company is toxic, the manager is rude, the workload is unrealistic, and only 10 unhappy leaves are provided, will the problem really be solved? Probably not. Because unhappy leave can be a bandage, not surgery. If an employee is breaking down emotionally every month, then the issue is not in their leave balance but in the company's operating system. This is what makes 𝐟𝐨𝐥𝐿𝐴's question powerful. The point is not just whether India should have unhappy leave or not. The point is whether Indian companies can create an environment where the need for unhappy leave is reduced. This difference is huge. One company can say, when you break down, take leave. Another company can say, we will create a work environment where you don't break down every day. The first is a response. The second is responsibility. This story from China is also interesting because China itself has been criticized for its long working hours culture, especially the 996 model. 996 means 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. This is the very backdrop against which Pangdong Lai's image of a 7-hour workday and weekends off looks distinct. The Straits Times reported that in Dong Lai's chain, apart from sad leave, employees already receive strong leave benefits and a shorter work schedule. So unhappy leave is not a standalone policy. It is part of a bigger philosophy. If a company puts up a poster saying mental health matters, but the employee is replying to emails until 11 p.m., then that is not care, it is decoration. Real care shows in the calendar. It shows in the workload. It shows in manager training. It shows in salary fairness. It shows in leave approval. And it shows most of all when an employee can speak an uncomfortable truth. Imagine an employee saying to their boss, I am mentally drained today. The boss has two options. First, he says, everyone has stress, get to work. Second, he asks, okay, take some rest, then we will discuss the workload. The first creates workplace fear. The second creates workplace trust. But trust does not come for free either. The company fears misuse. The employee fears judgment. The manager fears missing targets. These three fears together make up the real story of Indian offices. Perhaps the biggest impact of unhappy leave is not in the leave days but in the language. For the first time, it gives an employee permission to consider their emotional state as a valid reason. And this exact thing makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Because if an employee can say they are unhappy, the company will have to ask why. And this why is dangerous. Because in reply, it won't just be a personal mood coming out. Out could come a bad manager, unclear targets, salary pressure, office politics, toxic comments, career stagnation, and invisible workload. Meaning, unhappy leave opens a small window, but behind it, the entire workplace system becomes visible. In India, many companies conduct wellness webinars, yoga sessions, and motivational talks. But the employee is often working overtime on that very same day. Employees catch this contradiction quickly. They don't want posters. They want predictable timing, a respectful manager, fair leave approval, and realistic targets. And if a company is truly bold, it will have to listen not just to photos of happy employees but to the voices of unhappy employees as well. Pangdong Lai's policy went viral because it treated happiness as a hidden input to performance. We often say, customer is king. But the question is, how will an unhappy employee serve the king? An exhausted employee might fight with a customer. A respected employee can manage a customer. This is the business insight that many people ignore, thinking of it as an emotional topic. Now, whether this policy can be implemented in India or not, does not have a simple yes or no answer. In large corporates, it can be tested like a structured pilot. In startups, it can be linked to a trust-based leave system. In retail and factories, it will have to be designed along with shift planning. However, even for small businesses, this does not mean announcing 10 paid leaves immediately. Sometimes the first step is so simple that a manager asks an employee, is everything okay? And then has the capacity to listen to the truth. Because the problem is not in asking but in handling the answer. On social media after Goenka's post, some users vented their frustration at Indian bosses. Some raised questions about corporate hypocrisy, and some asked whether big Indian companies themselves would adopt this policy. This question is fair, because talking about workplace culture is easy. Bringing changes to your payroll targets and manager behavior is difficult. But every major policy begins with an uncomfortable conversation first. Maternity leave, paternity leave, menstrual leave, remote work, a 4-day week, mental health days, all of these once felt like too much. Then slowly, businesses understood that an employee is not a replaceable part. Every resignation, every burnout, every silent disengagement comes at a cost. Often, the most expensive employee is not the one who gets paid a higher salary. The most expensive thing is a system that slowly drains good people. Unhappy leave makes this very cost visible. It says that when an employee breaks down, work will inevitably be affected. The only difference is whether the company wants to look at it officially or ignore it.
This video has taught you something new. Or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.